Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a very special international edition of the Red Corner Show. I'm Shamila Ramjawan, an academic, a global award-winning entrepreneur, founder of the PrincessD Menstrual Cup, the Olympus International Awards, and the Red Corner Show. We are gathered to mark Menstrual Hygiene Management Day 2025 under the powerful and unifying theme, Together for a #period-friendly world. This is not just awareness. It is a growing global effort to break the silence, fight the stigma, and ensure that every menstruator has the dignity, information, and access they deserve. Today, I'm joined by remarkable PrincessD Menstrual Cup ambassadors, leaders who represent education, public service, gender equality, and health advocacy across Africa and the globe. This conversation is one of heart, truth, and impact. So let us begin. I'm all excited today. It's in red, celebrating Menstrual Hygiene Management Day. We have an incredible panel today, and I would like to invite each of our guests to briefly introduce themselves, just your name, your country, a few words about what you do or what drives your passion for menstrual health and equity. We're going to start off with Professor Kumari Sukhdeo. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you, Shamila. Greetings, humbled and honored to be on your show today and to be amongst the ambassadors that I've met briefly. Yes, I'm Prof. Kumari Sukhdeo. I am from South Africa. Recently been working in India on similar projects across communities. So yes, really keen to be here. I think for me, I've seen the need. I've seen the need for ambassadors. I've seen the need for the narrative to change. And I used to say somebody should do something about that until I realized I'm that somebody. So that's why I'm here today. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're looking forward to having your input in this such important conversation. Dr. Tamika Donaldson-Burgess is not here as yet, and I'm sure she will be joining us later. She's from the USA. We have Honorable Shem Okottah from Kenya. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and it's a great honor. We appreciate the Red Corner Show through the guidance of Madam Shamila Ramjawan. It is not an easy task to bring like-minded people together, so we appreciate you, we celebrate you on this day where we are celebrating menstrual hygiene, courtesy of also PrincessD Menstrual Cup. My name is Shem Okottah. Currently, I'm in Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm a very proud man to be an ambassador to spread this noble word across the country that it's no longer about women only to talk about menstrual matters. It is high time the boy child, the men to be involved in this noble move. So thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to continue supporting in all aspects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shem. We move on to Lethabo. Kupa, can you please share a brief intro?
Thank you so much, Dr. Shamila. I am Lethabo Kupa from South Africa. I am a teacher by profession. I'm also into the alternative medicine. So what I do, I go around schools educating them about different health science on how to actually improve their health. So also being an ambassador for PrincessD Menstrual Cups gives me in a role of educating young men that they can actually take part in terms of making an impact in this role of menstrual barriers, because we also play a part. You know, we cannot ignore the situation that we are facing because most of our ladies need our help. So we cannot take it, put it aside. We need to also take an initiative, talk about it as men, and see what we can actually do. So my role is that we need to educate young men and what really happens. So around menstruation and other menstruation methods of how to actually take care of a lady, so that when a lady is not even vocal about the situation, how can we actually help them in the process? So another alternative, which is the menstrual cup, which is also a new innovation, is one of the ways we can actually help the ladies who can't actually afford sanitary pads. And it's one of the common cases in our schools in South Africa. Thank you, Aunt Shamila.
Thank you, Lethabo. Lethabo's been with us for quite a few years, and he's done amazing work with girls in deep rural areas. So thank you so much for that. Madeleine, Pretorius, we're staying in South Africa.
Good afternoon, Shamila. It's such a privilege to be here. I'm honored and thank you very much. I'm humbled. Also humbled to meet the rest of the panel and really proud to say, yes, also South African trying to make an impact, seeing the things that happened in the past that didn't go well and trying to make the impact now for positive change and to bring on the conversations that's much needed, like the one that we are having today. I am a psychotherapist, a mental and holistic wellness professional. I'm also an educator and the owner of Princesses to Queens and the Gentlemen's Club, finishing schools, and that's also schools that I use not only for modeling, but also for confidence building and to open up these conversations where I teach young men and young women about these conversations that we need to have. Also the alternatives on sanitary pads and how to maintain our mental health as well as our menstrual health and the other alternatives that's out there like Menstrual Cup and PrincessD Cup. And I'm very privileged to be in this position. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Madeleine. And we move over to Liberia, Marjanne Baker.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. And once again, I'm so glad to be here and a part of this amazing panel talking about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart also. And I'm so happy that Dr. Shamila has always been inviting me to be a part of this amazing, amazing experience and opportunity to enlighten and also share the importance of young girls and the whole menstrual challenges that are surrounding us in terms of this. In Liberia, there is many times there's some stigma that has been associated with the menstrual whole process, and many times, a lot of times, the girls, particularly in the rural areas, they lose a lot of time out of school as a result of this. So I'm really happy to be here and just to say a word or two about this. So thank you again, Dr. Shamila, for having me on the panel.
Thank you, Marjanne. We're looking forward to the conversation today. And we move over to Kenya, Mildred Opondo. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Shamila. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending where you are. My name is Mildred Opondo. I'm based in Kenya and the current serving global head for Women Achievers Africa. So my main reason for being here is being an ambassador for PrincessD Menstrual Cup, which is one of the best things that ever happened, like something I came across that really touched my heart because I've got a lot of stories, having been brought up in the rural areas and also having gone through a lot of challenges just to get me to where I am. So whenever I'm called to speak, I always show up because I need this and I need other ladies and girls who are in the rural setup to know that there is possibility in everything. And we are here to make the light go stronger and brighter for them. There's a future ahead of them. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. And we want to hear more about your experience. I know you have quite a story to share, so we're going to hear about that as well. So thank you all. It's a true honor to have such a diverse and dedicated panel with us today. Let's dive right into the conversation. And I'm really excited to chat to all of you and just to hear how you are breaking the silence. And we're going to start with the first question. Now, around the world, menstruation is still surrounded by myths, taboos, and silence. And, you know, we're all trying to make a difference. When I started the PrincessD Menstrual Cup almost 10 years ago, the talk of menstruation was taboo. You know, you couldn't really talk about menstruation. It was a subject that nobody wanted to really address. And now it's all over. Everybody's trying to do something and everyone wants a piece of the pie. Now, this silence that we speak about leads to exclusion, misinformation, health risks, and some of the girls still don't want to talk about menstruation. So I need to know from the panel, what are the biggest taboos or challenges around menstruation in your particular country? Because we are now crossing across the globe, you know, especially Africa. And how have you personally contributed to breaking the silence? We're going to start with Professor Kumari. Would you like to begin?
Yes, thank you, Shamila. So, you know, as I said, having had the opportunity to work in India as well and work on some projects and be linked to foundations, the barriers that I've picked up are different dimensions. They're physical, they're psychological, and social dimensions that women have to deal with. And just to list some of the barriers, because I also want to give the other ambassadors opportunities, and I think, you know, we're going to come up with similar patriarchal barriers. You know, the fact that in India women are banished from cooking, you know, and some women are actually banished from the home. They're not allowed to be in the home during that menstrual cycle while they have their period. So patriarchal barriers. Access to menstrual hygiene products, I think that's a global issue. Access to pain meds, especially for rural girls, is also a huge barrier, you know. And then waste management. Waste management is not talked about a lot. It hasn't been explored a lot, but that also becomes a huge barrier for girls, you know. And the promoting education and awareness, the liberating conversations, those do not happen. And having worked in a part of India that is very rural, I found a lot of similarities, and there's also differences between Africa and India. But I must say the similarities outweigh it. But what I also found that it is individual experiences that also make up a lot of what really goes on, of the narratives that actually goes on, because people's experiences in different communities, let alone countries, but how they are perceived and how they are taught in different areas actually impacts on menstrual hygiene, actually impacts on the menstrual barriers. So I'm going to pause there. But I think for me, the biggest problem has been the patriarchal barriers that I've seen, especially in the rural areas. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to move across to Honorable Shem. Do you want to share with us?
Yeah, thank you again. On our end, the major barrier that we have when we talk about the menstrual cup here in Kenya is the lack of sufficient water and you know, private toilets, because you'll agree with me that the cups need to be washed to keep up with the hygiene. So that is one area that our role as ambassadors, we are trying to talk to the provincial administration, including the government representatives, encouraging them to set up or build laboratories within reach in town with access to clean water and maybe soap. On the matter of this, the girls are engaging in transactional sex because of lack of pads. That is something that really affects me also as a person, because I have a daughter. And when they are not able to reach or buy or get these items, they end up being lured. So we need to come out, you know, as a call of action to try come work with the CBOs. We get outreach to community We try get these people who are already in discussion on matters of sanitary cleanliness, so that we join our hands together to continue spreading this word that, hey, it is not a disease. This was brought by God. And that is why both men and women must look into this matter. Traditionally, men were not involved, or they thought maybe it is not my duty. But thank you to the technology, nowadays as young fathers, we also get involved and know that our daughters, our sisters, our nieces are well taken care of. So we'll continue supporting wherever we can. The biggest barrier that also affects us is the price. The prices are not very friendly, and this affects most of our ladies in the slum dwelling areas because they are disadvantaged. So just to finish up as a call of action also, we will request accessibility to the cups. We join hands to ensure that cups can be availed in any location where the ambassadors are present. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Honorable Shem. Such important points there. I just want to touch a little bit on the water and sanitation problem. And the advantage of the cup is it can be inserted for up to 12 hours. So it gives the girl a flexibility of being in school and not worrying to change her cup. And then just when it comes to the cost of sanitary products, it is quite incredible. And it's astonishing how expensive it's become these days. I mean, how does one manage? Even in the affluent areas, people are struggling with the cost of sanitary products. And here we have the menstrual cup, which is reusable for 10 years. And it works out to, in South African Rand, about R2.20 a month, opposed to what you would pay for sanitary pads and tampons. So there's so many advantages with the cup. And, if I have to go deep down and talk about my research that I've done on menstrual hygiene, my doctoral study, and that touches on a lot of areas. And, I looked at it on a global scale. And what I really found is, and it's so interesting that I can bring into this topic today, is menstrual hygiene management on adolescents with intellectual disabilities. And that is a topic for another day. People actually do not even talk about these girls that cannot help themselves. They have caregivers and they have parents that have to change the sanitary product. And I had a doctor from Durban that actually contacted me, and she said to me, she's a provincial hospital doctor, and she has this girl that is in a wheelchair. She's disabled. Can I please, as the founder of the Menstrual Cup, can I please supply one? She can buy one, but she wants it coming from me. And lo and behold, success story, the girl has been using my cup for quite a few years now, and it's made such an impact. So these are the real stories that we'd like to hear. And, like I said, menstrual hygiene management is a topic that people don't really talk about because they're so shy, or they just don't want to talk about it because it's personal. But thank you so much, Honorable Shem, for sharing your insights. We're going to move over to Lethabo.
Aunt Shamila, thank you so much. In many communities in South Africa, menstruation is still shrouded, as you know, in shame and silence. And girls are also often teased. They also miss school due to the lack of access to sanitary products. So they also feel unworthy and unclean during the process. Cultural taboo also plays a significant role because we don't have open conversations about this, leaving many young girls without basic knowledge and dignity which they deserve. So I hope today's conversation will actually educate young young people and also older people that we need to have this in conversation and also include boys in it, because when boys see ladies go through this process, when they have sufficient knowledge, they'll be able to take the role of actually helping the ladies out. Now, with the innovation of the menstrual cup, such as the PrincessD, so I was able to actually educate young men, because now I separated ladies because I had to educate them about the whole process of how to use it and how to also clean it as well. And also I had a session with the boys. It was, you know, an uncomfortable conversation with the boys, but they ended up in understanding that it's not actually it's not something that girls actually ask or they actually choose to go through. It's something natural, and it's something that we need to accept and also help them out, because now it's God's nature. So we need to help them out because they're here, like as Miss Pretorius stated, because of the very basic menstruation that they go through. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Lethabo. And Madeleine, over to you.
Thank you very much, Shamila. So from my side, I'd like to say that being an ambassador for PrincessD Cup means that we are a light in the world and a voice. And that voice is not because we are perfect. It's just because we've got the boldness and the courage to move forward and to open up that conversation so that other people can also rise in the conversation. I really loved your conversation, Lethabo, just now, because this is a big issue in South Africa. We cannot deny it. For me, it's going through the unseen crisis of the period poverty in South Africa, which is not really only a health issue. To me, it's a human rights crisis. Yes, we are talking about the fact that there's not enough sanitary pads, or there's not enough clean water, or there's a lack of water, or whatever it is. But coming from a psychotherapy point of view and a psychotherapist, I believe in advocacy of addressing the emotional and the psychological impact from this through psychoeducation. And this is confidence building and helping them to understand that individuals must process the fear and the anxiety and the shame related to menstruation. And this is where I teach a little bit differently than Lethabo, but mostly in the same areas, in rural areas especially, to create that therapeutic safe space for girls and women and men these days and boys to be into this conversation, to reduce the menstrual related trauma, if I may call it that, because of bullying, exclusion, and even abuse, and to support body positivity, reframe the menstruation and the natural powerful process rather than a source of embarrassment. That's really where I come from with what I'm doing in South Africa. And with all that said and done, it's to be that light, as I said, not to be perfect, but to walk ahead in that courage, and to know that you are actually empowering girls and young men to stick together and to start opening up the conversation on all levels. And even our colleagues where we work, in our organizations, our schools, and even in our government school system, I've started up a conversation in terms of changing the curriculum in South Africa, bringing in life skills and bringing in the topic as menstruation, so that we can teach our children the correct facts about menstruation. Because in South Africa, in many cultures, it's been seen as an unclean stage of your life, or unclean couple of days in your life, very much like you have described, something of shame, something of secrecy. That's where we have the lack of conversation. It's because they see it as an unclean thing that happens to women and to young women. And it's really, we all know that the power of nature, we all know the power of biology and the beauty of birth, and that's our existence, and that's where we come from. So why would we put ourselves through the bag of shame then, and not having these discussions? In terms of bringing alternative therapy and alternative methods, I'll just touch on that a little bit later. But from my side, really, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to be ambassadors in South Africa and all over the globe. And just by the way, for those who's checking out my background, this is actually with impact and with intention today. So I believe in conscious living and living with intention. So you see the world and you see the stars and the moon behind me. It's intentional. It's so that we can move the shift, so that we can own the shift in this conversation, not only in South Africa, but all over the globe. And thank you for the opportunity, Shamila. You're absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much, Madeleine. Thank you for sharing. And yes, definitely we need that shift. You know, it's not about all talk. We need to implement, and that is the key. So we need to get on the ground and start working and just making that real impact. So we're going to move across to Liberia to Marjanne. Marjanne, please share with us.
Okay, I'm so sorry. The internet seems to be unstable, so I didn't grab the initial question.
Okay, so we're talking about
So
the biggest
please give me.
issues or challenges around menstruation in your country.
Okay. For Liberia, I would say it's similar to what I've been hearing from the other countries. There's a lot of stigma. There's a lot of it's just a hush hush conversation. Because a lot of shame that goes along with it, and it's such this whole concept of the PrincessD and being part of this. It's really just an amazing opportunity, because I think this will definitely help in disrupting the narrative on and all the shaming that goes along with this. Because, and not only in the rural areas that we have these challenges of the period poverty, the girls losing so much time in school during the school year because of it. It's also happening in our urban areas as well. And the cost, someone mentioned about the cost. The cost is even not only the lower socioeconomic group are having issues with the cost, but all levels are experiencing the high cost of these menstrual products. So I know the impact that it's going to have here in Liberia with the 10-year menstrual cup. I'm really excited to start the campaign across the country about this. Because it's needed. It's so needed here. And I'm just really thrilled to be a part of the PrincessD community to go ahead and continue to raise the banner about the significance of us. Someone once earlier mentioned about including it in the curriculum. I think this is something that it's high time we do that. And it will be an opportunity to get to stakeholders to tell them how we can infuse this into our curriculum, because it's a natural phenomenon. And I mean, we all know the role that women play in society. And if these girls are a whole slice of their the academic year, from what the little research I've been able to do, I understand it's about 3 months out of the school year that these young girls who cannot afford the menstrual pads and all that, they're leaving school. So, I mean, it is a crisis. It is a humanitarian crisis. And I'm really, really thankful to be a part of this community to raise the banner on it in Liberia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marjanne. So I met Marjanne at the Women in Africa Summit, where we both were laureates for Africa representing our own country. So we're of the 54 laureates, right, Marjanne? Yeah, that was in 2018. Was it in 2018?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, wow, it's a long time. Yeah, so thank you, Marjanne. Most definitely, it is an entire school term that girls miss school, and that is a lot of days being out of school, and we need to make that difference. And also, if you look at the challenges with the rural girls, they have long distances to walk from home to school and back every day. And a lot of them don't have proper underwear, leave alone sanitary products. So, you know, we really, really need to change lives and make an impact. We're going to move back to Kenya to Mildred. Would you like to share with us, please?
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I'm just excited that everybody has talked about everything I wanted to talk about, but trust me, when it comes to menstrual hygiene and cycle and everything else, I can't miss something to say, definitely, because it's something that really challenged me as a girl, and I had to fight it with everything I had. And to it, like, there's a lot of barriers when it comes to menstrual hygiene, a lot of barriers. And just as Shem said, there's a lot of barriers that when it comes to water and everything else. And again, something that comes to my mind is that menstrual talks and hygiene is shrouded with a lot of secrecy and silence. We are not supposed to talk about it in open broad light when you are back at home, because people believe that it's a dirty talk. It's not a clean talk. And that makes the entire look awkward and makes a woman so disadvantaged, in that when there are discussions going on, you'd be regarded as somebody who is unclean, not worthy to be sitting where people are seated. And also this goes even to churches, where when you are having a menstrual circle, you're not supposed to attend church because you are considered unclean. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So how are women supposed to, like, how are women supposed to live with all these barriers and everything else? So coming to become an ambassador for PrincessD Loani Menstrual Cup is just an amazing thing, because this is a product that really requires minimal maintenance, and it requires not much energy or not much stress. I believe like a girl having a menstrual cup can sit in a class all through the lessons without having anything to worry her that there's leakage. Remember, where there is leakage, there's a lot of expectation. People will talk, people will mock you, people will shame you, people will say all kind of things about you. But when you are confident that whatever I'm seated on or whatever I'm having is not going to leak, then trust me, you can stand on that desk anytime, any day, and go, even present whatever you are going to present in front of the class, and nobody will talk about you. So this is kind of a special talk for me, and this kind of something so motivating. And I wish these talks could go down to even our girls in the grassroots, not really girls in the town, but really girls in the grassroots who cannot even afford the normal sanitary towel. But again, we have many ways that have come in that can be able to help girls back there to ensure that they're clean. Because without the menstrual hygiene cleanliness, then it means that they're going to be prone to diseases, one or two. And that one means that double tragedy for them. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you, Shamila.
Thank you so much, Mildred. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, lots of challenges, no matter where and how you look at it, there's always going to be challenges and risks involved. The girls need to clean themselves, clean the menstrual cup. With our combo pack, they actually get the sterilizer cup that comes with it. So it's a one-stop solution, which really makes a huge difference. So I want to thank all of you for sharing and naming these challenges. It's so important that we hear about it, because every country faces something very similar or different. These stories remind us that why do we have to keep raising our voices? We need to see action, and who's going to take the action? That is important, because we can talk until we're blue in the face. But at the end of the day, we want implementation, okay? And we all for women empowerment, and we need to start really pressing now who is going to take charge. It begins with conversations like this, where everybody shares and we on the ground doing the work. And I want to thank all of you for being ambassadors for PrincessD Menstrual Cup. We have over 120 ambassadors across the globe, and everybody is trying to have that voice and to get people on board to actually make a difference and an impact. Regardless of what menstrual cup or menstrual product you actually use, we want to make sure that our girls are happy, because at the end of the day, it's a preference or a choice. We cannot force them and say, use a menstrual cup. It's entirely up to them if they want to use the menstrual cup. But there are many choices, and thank you for everyone that's making a difference across the globe in terms of raising funds and getting menstrual products to help our girls. And as Honorable Shem said, it's become transactional sex. And, we have to use those words, we have to put it the way it is. And in South Africa, we call them blessers. And they take advantage of these girls that are so vulnerable, because these girls have nothing to use. So they would actually go with these older men and get paid so that they can buy menstrual products. And we don't want that happening to our girls. So we're going to move on, and I think a lot of you answered my question as to what you are actually doing on the ground. So I'm going to now put you on the spot and ask you, what does it mean to be a brand ambassador for PrincessD Menstrual Cup? It's going to bring us really close to the PrincessD family, and it's something that I'm so passionate about. And you're all proud ambassadors of the PrincessD Menstrual Cup, and you carry that badge with leadership, love, responsibility, and passion, So I'd like you to share. So who wants to go first?
I'd like to go first, and Shamila.
Okay, Lethabo.
Okay.
So I started the initiative, not even started, but I joined with Dr. Shamila, Ramjawan, the initiative, Keep the Girl Child in School. So when we started this initiative, it's when I received different letters from girls who would request the menstrual cup, but they would need to give us reasonable reasons why they want the menstrual cup. Usually we look at criteria such as girls who can't really afford, children who are on the government supporting fund, that we know that there is so little from the South African government that we know they can't afford menstrual cup because they need to buy food with the amount that they're getting. So with that, it kind of touched my heart because I know what's really happening in our schools. Girls don't come to school. They often miss school because of their own periods. Sometimes they have excessive periods, but now due to the letters that we're getting and the girls that we're reaching out, it kind of also helped them because even when they have heavy fluid, I told them that we have an alternative cup, which is a large cup, which can actually help them with their flu. So it warmed my heart knowing that there are girls out there, a woman who might actually become president of South Africa who's getting help from us. It does make a huge impact in our communities, especially when I refer back to all those girls checking out where they are in life and also hearing good stories that they're still using the cup. Majority of the girls that I'm talking to right now, they're in varsity. I actually wanted to do a campaign where we actually take videos of them. Yes, I know it's I wouldn't be violating that discretion. We'll just close their faces where they will be sharing how are their journeys with the cup since, well, they're now in varsity, because it has changed their lives. They're no longer buying sanitary pads right now because they're now using the cup. Right now also you're in varsity. The 1.5 from the government is not even enough in varsity to actually buy sanitary pads. We're actually helping them through varsity as well, through the cup. So this is one of the initiatives that I look into when I say I'm a lifestyle medicine empowerment sector. That's where I actually focus into helping those girls change their lifestyle with the cup, making sure that their health is well taken care of. Now with the initiative, we'll be able to identify girls and also help them out throughout. But right now, one thing I noticed, especially when I went there and approached sponsors, was that my initiative was not actually registered with the Department of Social Services. But one of the things that I've started working on early on this year is to register my initiative so that I can get more funds to actually distribute more cups to more girls through the funds that we'll be getting. Thank you so much, Dr. Shamila, for the initiative and also the innovation of the cup. We're now reaching out to more girls, and hopefully now with more sponsors coming into the initiative, we'll be able to reach more girls in South Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lethabo. And I also want to share with everyone that Lethabo was in school and he used to take his pocket money and he used to buy one menstrual cup per month to donate to a school girl. So thank you so much for that.
Amazing.
Yes,
That's
really
amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you, Lethabo. And anyone else would like to share?
Yes, Shamila. It is very sad for me, being an academician and just recently coming back into the country. It's very sad to see the technological advances that we are making globally. We are advancing so rapidly. The pace and the scale of disruption is coming at us from all areas. We've just become so advanced as a society, yet we have regressed. It's so sad to see something that is natural has to take this kind of effort from humanity. For me, that is very sad, and that actually shows me that we have regressed as a society. No matter how much we've advanced technologically or globally, and I mean, if you just watch the news every day and you look at all this warfare and the machinery that's coming out of all corners of the world, and yet something as simple as humanity has to be fought for. I think that is very, very sad. And, having recently come back into South Africa, I'm getting started. But one of the things that I'm looking at, and you and I briefly chatted, and there is a lot more work to be done, is sustainable financing to support country initiatives, because sustainable financing is something that is sorely needed, and Madeleine, Lethabo, Honorable Shem, even Marjanne, Mildred, you've touched on a lot of things. The sanitation is so important. And I was doing some research, Shamila, and 70% of reproductive diseases are linked to inadequate menstrual hygiene practices.
Yes.
And that's as a result of the lack of water and sanitation. And then the other thing that stood out for me is the curriculum. When I was in school growing up, and I'm happy to give my age away, and this was a long time ago, we had a subject called right living, not
Oh, yes.
guidance. It was
I
called
remember those
right.
days.
Do you remember, Shamila? Yes,
I remember those
right
days.
living. And I still have my old school report, because I was also forced to do needlework and baking. We were put into boxes, but right living was for boys and girls, and it taught you about hygiene factors. It taught you about menstruation. It taught boys what they were going through, because they also go through their own personal periods, I'm convinced, so puberty and the things that you have to deal with. So there's a lot of things, I think, that need to come back. And sometimes when the world becomes so convoluted, when it becomes so confusing, we must go back to basics and look at what worked, because we didn't have a lot of these issues in the older days. It's just sort of the pink tax. I mean, the pink tax on sanitary products, that is something that should be tax exempt. There should not even be tax on sanitary products, on hygiene products. It should be tax exempt. So, as I said, the sustainable financing, and I think from a legislative aspect as well, we need to now, and probably name and shame, this is what works. This is what worked for BEE, this is what worked for gender equality in the corporates. So sometimes with sustainable financing, the naming and shaming, and ESG, we have ESG now, where companies have a social responsibility. So where is that funding going? A part of that funding should go towards the shame and the stigma that is associated around periods,
Sure.
So that's some of the initiatives that I would like to get involved in. And I'm busy mapping this out, and I think ineptocracy is something that we must look at. And that ineptocracy means a person that is in a position of influence, not doing anything to impact society, to impact humanity. And I think people need to be called out for that. Thank you. Thanks very much. It is truly humbling to be on the show and to be an ambassador.
Thank you
Truly,
so much.
thank you.
Mari, I'm actually with you on this. So two voices, add two voices to your list, and definitely we can get going on that, because I'm not afraid to talk about it. I've been talking menstrual hygiene management for the past 10 years now. And, I must proudly say that I have done activations in South Africa, and I've done over 500 schools, and anything from 200 to 800 girls per school. And I was actively involved 95% of the time. So I literally went to the deep rural areas and handed out menstrual cups to the girls.
Yeah, I think it's sorry to interrupt you, but it's a national disgrace.
Yes.
That we have to be here mobilizing, talking about this, and trying to get funding to make sure that every girl has a menstrual cup, every girl and boy is educated around this. It is a national disgrace. There's no other word to describe it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And it takes a lot of passion and purpose to do what I do. And I can give you examples of incidents where I was really challenged. I was held hostage in one of the schools for 3 hours. They refused to let us go, my daughter and myself. And we were really scared that time. We thought we weren't going to get out of that school. And then, going through all the potholes and the deep rural areas, and the risk of being hijacked and all of that. But we did it as two females alone driving in these areas. But it is the passion, that speaks louder than words. So I just want to say, for us, it's about making a difference, because we love the girls. Like Lethabo says, they are leaders of tomorrow. and we need to provide for them. And if we can, we will do as much as we can. So I want to say thank you. I'm not sure if anyone else wants to share. Honorable Shem, Mildred,
Yes. Can I
Marjanne.
maybe share, Shamila? Yes, can I share? I'd
Sure.
love to share. I would
Yes.
just like to say that I think it's a shame in South Africa, specifically in South Africa, that a girl needs to choose between education and her period. I actually think it's an absolute disgrace. So for me, being a PrincessD ambassador is an absolute thrill and a pleasure and an honor, because for me, it's a sacred responsibility towards our girls in school and our women, and empowering women in South Africa on different platforms, also as the influential women of South Africa and using that platform. It means to stand in the intersection of dignity, of power, of transformation for women and young women, especially in a world where menstruation is still met with silence, shame, and inequality. So I come from a background of psychotherapy, coaching as an international coach and an educator, but more than that, I come from a place of understanding. I see what happens when a young girl hides her pain. I see when she lowers her voice. I believe I understand her biology as a burden. And I've also witnessed the power that's unleashed when that same girl is told, you are not broken, you are beautiful, you are enough. And PrincessD isn't just about sanitary pads or cups. For me, it's about restoring dignity in South Africa and in the world. It's about the fact that I'm proud to be part of a movement, your movement, in rewriting the narrative of what it means to be and how it means to be rising and growing together to change and make impact. And on this said and done, I did touch on the education side of the edu psychotherapy part, but also on education in schools. There's an initiative that I would really love to bring forward, but I'm also struggling with funding, because funding is always the problem, especially in South Africa. There's no money from the government side, so I need to do strategic partnerships with private companies out there. And yes, Professor Kumari, I really, really agree that there must be some kind of a social responsibility like there is on BEE. There needs to be some kind of a responsibility to bring in this affordability of the menstrual cup so that we can actually sow it like seeds into our communities. And one of the projects that I want to drive in South Africa is a project that I haven't seen before, and I hope it's going to be very innovative for South Africa. It's a school-based hygiene corner. So it's a corner in the school where the girl knows where she's safe, where she can go and find her emergency menstrual supplies like pads, a cup, soap, clean water, clothes, extra pair of clothes, private changing area, maybe even access to clean water. And with all this said and done, this is what I do. I go boldly into schools and I speak up. I speak up openly about the things that we are silent about. I offer the education when there's ignorance, and I'm trying to hold the space for healing when there was shame. So that's why it makes me a proud ambassador. And thank you very much for the opportunity and for the change that you bring into South Africa, you being part of the system and doing it for so many years on your own, and now living in Cambodia, but giving us the legacy to carry on the work that you've been started off in South Africa. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Madeleine. Yes, my heart lies in South Africa. I will do everything in my power that I possibly can.
Okay.
So yes, we want to have those voices or be those voices for change. So yes, I think if we all collaborate and get together, we can make a difference. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Mildred, do you want to share?
Definitely, I want to share. I told you I can't keep quiet when it comes to menstrual hygiene.
Sure.
So I know many people have talked and everything is beautiful, but I wanted to digress a bit because I believe that once there's a solution in one corner of the continent, then there should be a solution in the entire continent. Like right now, I can't really complain much because things are not as bad as when I was growing up, because we managed to go back to the grassroots in one way or another to ensure that girls, even if they don't get the sanitary towels from the shops, we can come up with the reusable sanitary towels. And at this point, like we are having a very good product in South Africa. I was just thinking, why can't each and every like country in Africa have a company running under Shamila, producing the menstrual cups instead of importing, because cost of importation is also very high. We need like if I want to import them, I have to come up with the money for importation and everything else. But if I have something in Kenya that is running, a company or something, then I know that everybody in Kenya would be sorted. We don't need to like come up together and import something to bring to our girls. Because like I've said, and like Shem have expressed, we've got a serious problem of water. And when water is a problem, then I think that even hygiene would not go much well when it comes to menstrual days. So you find that if we can be able to support each and every girl in school, then it means that this cup, they will run with it until they finish their university level, where they can buy another one with their own funds without depending on us, because it has a long term of it can go for for many years, whereby we don't need to replace it at any point. So we need to ensure that these girls, their health is also brought into factor. As much as we are giving them hope, we should always consider that these girls, even after giving them the sanitary pads, you'll find that a girl uses this sanitary towel for even all the 3 days without thinking like this thing, or even washing that is the sanitary pad that is not supposed to be washed. So you find that by the end of the day, we've even caused more problems than solutions. But if you give them something that we know that they are able to manage, and managing is even very easy, then I think that we'll have made a very big stride. So Shamila, thank you so much for the product you are running. Thank you so much for PrincessD Menstrual Cup. And I hope this plea will go along the way. We're here with Shem to ensure that it comes to Kenya and in big numbers, so that our girls can get a solution for a lifetime. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I just want to read some key statistics with regards to our teenage girls. So very quickly, approximately 365 teenage girls give birth each day in South Africa. Notably, about 10 of these daily births are to girls younger than 15 years old. Okay. The annual figures between 2022 and 2023, over 105,000 girls aged 10 to 19 gave birth in South Africa. Now that's a large number, okay? So nearly 1 in 4 girls in South Africa becomes pregnant before the age of 20. And what are the factors that contribute to these high rates? Limited access to reproductive health services, sexual abuse and coercion, educational disruptions, and again, educational disruption, it's the lack of sanitary products, poverty, cycles of poverty, etc. So we have huge problems, and this is just South Africa. Now, what about the rest of Africa? Honorable Shem, do you want to share with us?
Absolutely. You know, initially when Shamila, you brought this noble idea and product, and you gave me an opportunity to be an ambassador, I thought it was a joke. But later on, I've come to realize that this is no joke. And I thought I could do it alone. I was wrong. This thing needs collective responsibility of like-minded person, not just anyone else. So it will be a challenge I will pose to my fellow ambassadors. Let us continue looking around for like-minded persons so that we can help Shamila reach as many people on the ground as possible. Because if we are many ambassadors who are like-minded and are for this particular cause, we will go far. I know the shortest way is to create partnership. Partnership here is into 3. We can collaborate with the existing NGOs and CBOs. We can work on policy advocacy and also lobby in the government. So the last one is a bit hard because dealing with the government is a big problem. On my side as a businessman, I tried to do it with the mind of being a businessman, I hit a snag. So what did I do? I decided to form a CBO, which is called Unievo CBO. So my thinking is, for me as a businessman, I might not be able to reach as many people as possible. But if I form a CBO with like-minded persons, it will be easier to spread this gospel. It will be easier to seek collaboration with other bigger NGOs and CBOs. It will be easier to reach our respective stubborn government officials who don't give us an ear. So I will steal an idea from Madeleine that I've had there. I will pick a couple of schools and request to build this, say for menstrual corner, an emergency corner. It's a very noble thing that we can adopt it through guidance or permission of Madam Shamila. It can be one of our pioneer, something to be known for. That every ambassador try to adopt a school, even if it is one. Talk with the school, let them give you a small space, talk to the board of governors of that school to give you a very small section. Then we push it off. If we are known for that, even the government official, the Minister of Health, Minister of Education, they will feel embarrassed. They will start looking for us. Because the way I've seen where I'm sitting from, if we rely directly on the government, it will take us ages. Let us move out there, come through the CBOs together, like-minded persons, so that you don't, all your energies go to the same direction, because such things need positivity, such things need, understanding, and it does not have room for any negativity. So again, I've learned quite a lot from Shamila, the way he's managing the whole process. And for sure, we'll support you from where we sit here in Kenya. Thank you very much. And thank you, Madeleine. That is a very, that's a point I'm taking with home. It will help me here in Kenya.
I'm
you.
really glad you like it. And I must say, this is also going to be empowering, and it will actually help with job creation in South Africa, if you think about it, because we can actually call them, champions of menstrual health. And that can be social workers, that can be educators, that can be volunteers that get involved in a program like that in the school itself, to speak to children, to speak to the parents, to speak to the boys, to speak to everybody in that community about these topics. And also it helps us with training and capacity building, to design and to lead a training workshop like I do, on menstrual health from a psychological perspective, develop resources maybe in mental wellness during menstruation, and especially for teens facing anxiety, mood swings, and all of that, because that's things that they also get marked for, and it's real, it's there, it's out there, we have to cope with that. And this all gives us the opportunity to strengthen the core and to be health advocates, especially with Shamila, her amazing product, and as you said, like-minded people to get involved. Thank you.
That. Yes, I love that. Absolutely. Thank you, Madeleine, and thank you, Honorable Shem. And I must add to what you said, Honorable Shem, it is so important that we collaborate. It's all about partnerships, which are key, because you find people are working in silos, and a lot of people see it as a money-making game, where they just want to gain from it. We want to actually make a difference in the lives of people. Yes, it is a business model for some people. Obviously, I cannot supply the product for free. Okay, it's unaffordable for me to supply it for free to, a large amount of girls. Although I do lots of sponsorship from my foundation and from my company, but there's so much that I can do. Okay, so it's all about collaboration. You have one person doing disposable sanitary products or pads, then you have another person doing the reusable sanitary pads, Then you have the menstrual cup people. When I started menstrual cups, I was at one point, I was #1 in the world because I was in 22 countries before COVID. So everybody knows PrincessD. And then you find all the little companies coming or people coming up with cups. So, it's now everybody's working in silos. But when we come, like I said, the pie is so big, we all can have a piece of it and have a share, but work together. Because when you work together, you have multiple voices in one room. Okay,
Exactly.
and we can make a bigger difference. And that's what we want to do. Not you work in one corner of the world and you in the other corner and you in the other corner. You're doing 50 girls and 20 girls, and then you're going on social media and you're saying, oh, we did girls at this school and that school when you did 20 girls, whereas I do 800 girls, but I'm not making such a loud noise. But it's all about working together. And I believe that collaboration is key. And yes, Honorable Shem, we need to get everybody involved and get those voices and really do the work. We need to now start doing the work. So
if I can maybe suggest something there, Camila, I actually think we should have something like a conference about this. This is how important it is to get people all over the world into conferencing about this and making that plans together, that strategic plans, that partnerships, to sign off that partnerships, that getting that funding, because by all of us only working in our own corners of the world, we've got our own challenges, and that one voice on its own doesn't make the difference, but the collective voices, that's what's making the impact. It's a deeper impact as that what we would have on our own, for not just only teaching about periods, but also self-worth and personal agency, body acceptance, and all of that. Thank you.
I love that word, collective. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So yes, can we go to Marjanne in Liberia?
Okay, yes, I'm so in agreement with everything that the panel is saying, and the collectiveness of us coming together and hosting the conference is a wonderful idea, where we can all see, because of course we know their power in numbers, there's numbers. And just listening to everybody, we all seem to have some of the similar challenges. We in Liberia, we know the patriarchy syndrome is something that is real, and those circles that we need to break and disrupt those areas. One of the things I would like to do in Liberia is get to policymakers and make the loud noise in terms of, because once we're able to make sure that we're heard from that perspective, I think it goes a long way in us being able to now trickle down.
Yes.
And once we continue to knock on their doors and continue to make some noise, they will all eventually to submit to it, the noise, because they all are aware that this is a crisis, but no one is really boards and saying, need to do something. People are doing pockets here and there, but the PrincessD is such a powerful tool that I'm really, from my vantage point, I'm saying we can get to policymakers. Shamila, we've talked about the event that we want to host next year, and I think this is a good starting point in us really revving up, driving the conversation in getting that to happen. But that's where I see the work to be done here, is from the angle of the policymakers. We can get to them and make enough noise. One or two of them will listen, and I think that will go a long way.
Yeah.
Yes, Marjanne, definitely the policymakers and getting involved in the policies. But if you look at, just say for example, if you look at the Department of Basic Education in South Africa, they support the pregnant learners
Yes.
and they ensure that they have the opportunity to continue their education. But what is done before that,
Exactly.
right?
It's ironic. It's the tragedy.
Yes. So we need to actually now support the girls before that even happens.
Exactly.
with proper education, being on the ground, because they need the social services. And if you look at most countries, I'm not just going to say South Africa, but if you look at most countries in Africa, they are actually providing free condoms. Now, does that make sense? You're providing free condoms. The teenagers are not even using the condoms because they're still ending up pregnant. And it's a waste of money. It's a waste of budget. And here we have a dire need for sanitary products, and the girls don't have access to that.
Exactly.
Yes. Shamila, this should actually, you know, there's family planning clinics all over the country.
Yes.
Why can't menstrual health, menstrual hygiene, and the PrincessD cups be stocked at these family planning clinics? Because it all starts with menstrual health. It starts with the woman's first period, you know, and that goes on, that becomes part of that family planning clinic.
Yes.
So that is something that needs to be looked at. There should be a space in family planning clinics for menstrual health, menstrual hygiene, and for the products, especially for rural girls. It should be part of this.
Yes.
It should be.
If I can also add to that, sorry for cutting in there, Professor, if I can suggest, like we are suggesting a corner at school, we should have a community corner also for the same reason, for women in our communities, not only condoms and trying to avoid pregnancy, but I mean, you named it earlier, you talked about the illnesses and the infections because of the methods that's been used now for proper hygiene, because they don't have means and ways. And I'm really talking about using socks, leaves, all kinds of things that causes horrific infections.
Washable cloth, yes.
It's really, it's terrible. So I would even go so far to say, not only a conference, but we should actually have like youth summits all over South Africa and across the globe, where we talk about this narratives, where we talk about this legislation, where we talk about how we can improve in the communities, but also teacher parent workshops. And where we guide also the parents, because the parents also has a lack of knowledge. They also don't know how to rectify this whole process, and it's generational. So it's just passed on from one generation to the other, especially the taboos about the fact that it's unclean and so on and so on.
Yes.
So I think by conferencing, youth summits, and maybe even workshops, we can make a big difference, but definitely clinics. Yes, I do agree. There's space for that.
Yes, I just want to touch on that, Madeleine. It is, we can do that. We can do that. We can have the workshops, we can have the summits, we can have the conferences, but who pays for it? You know,
that's the thing.
I'm having my Olympus International Awards, and obviously there is a cost to be paid per person to attend, because someone's got to pay the cost, right? Because we don't have sponsors. And I had someone today ask me, but why do I have to pay for an award? Okay. So let's look at it. Let's break it down. You get a trophy, you get a medal, okay? There's marketing collateral involved. There's the sound, there's the venue cost, there's food, and then you have the photographer, you have the DJ, you have lots of things happening.
All of that.
Now, who pays for all of that?
Yes.
Right? And from that, I said, okay, you have to pay, you know, it's a cost per person. And then from that one, you will keep one child in school. Okay. So because that is the whole idea of having the event, because we want to actually now provide for the schoolgirls. And so each person that's attending my event, they would actually now be contributing to keeping one girl child in school. And we are doing that activation in Pretoria on the 27th of June. So it is not that I'm now fundraising because I'm making money. It's not a profit-making thing, must add. Because
on the contrary,
my company is actually sponsoring almost the entire event, you know, including the trophies and the medals and everything else that goes with it. So, you know, for people to come up with something like that, it's just like, we are not one of these big organizations where you have the big corporates being headline sponsors. I don't have that yet. You know, I'd love to have that one day and make a bigger impact, but we don't have that right now. So if there's any corporates out there listening to us,
Yes,
we'd
this is
love
my
to hear
idea.
the headline sponsor.
This is what I'm trying to evoke here, Shamila. I'm trying to get the people who's listening to this conversation out here in South Africa, who's got the means and the ways and the funds, and also the Skills Training Act and the Levies Act in South Africa involved now to say, if you can claim back for skills levy towards a certain act, can there be something where we can claim these costs so that we can work together and pay for this kind of conferencing, workshops, and so on? Because you are right if you say finding strategic partners to fund this is horrifically difficult. And yes, I'm also like in the stage of where I even get hammered by my auditor, telling me I must stop doing these things because I don't make money. Yes, and then I'm like, but it's not about the money, it's about the work, But for us to be also put bread and butter on the table, we need to be funded, we need to be paid a salary for the work that we're doing. So yeah, it's about strategic partnerships, it's about collaboration, and it's about those people out there that's hearing our voices now to come forward and say, Shamila, here we are. Let's collaborate, let's have a conference, and let's fund.
Absolutely. And it's not just in South Africa. We're looking at
globally.
The time is now. We need to start. Honorable Shem, Mildred, Marjanne, we need to get going. We need to get on the ground and going. And I'm happy to come across over to your countries, have the Olympus International Awards. We raise funds for the girl child in that specific country, and we do the activations. And I think we have to start and get the visibility so people can see, because we need to attract the correct audience. That is important. And to do that, we have to be visible. We have to be on the ground. Okay, so it's such an interesting conversation, and I can see we're also passionate about it. We want to share, but we can go on forever and ever. So we've come to almost the end of the chat. I'm not going to call it a show now, or this dialogue. And I want to invite each of you to just leave our viewers with one powerful thought. Today is Menstrual Hygiene Management Day. It's a global event or initiative, whatever you may call it, and people across the globe are celebrating Menstrual Hygiene Management Day. So the hashtag is #PDFriendlyWorld. That's a theme for 2025. And I'd like for each of you to just give me one sentence as to how you can contribute towards this. Just a powerful thought. So can we start with you, Madeleine?
Yeah, I would like to say that I stand for freedom. Let's end the period poverty. One goal, one cup, one voice at a time.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to go according to my screen. So Professor Kumari.
Yes, thank you, Shamila. Honored and humbled, as I said, and bless you for the work that you are doing. So my call to action for a period-friendly world is to drive projects with ambassadors and trailblazers. And if I could just quickly substantiate that, we have our young kids follow all of these trailblazers, follow all of these icons. What are these icons doing towards contributing to a period-friendly world? And I think that liberating conversation needs to happen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We don't need the influencers here. We need the people that are going to be doing the work. We are the influencers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Bless you and bless all the ambassadors. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Shem.
To wind up, mine is simple. #PrincessD Menstrual Cup. #promote dignity. #promote access. Thank you.
Yeah,
love it. Thank you so much. Mildred.
Thank you so much. Okay, mine is a bit longer because I'm one person who talks a lot. My call for action for a period-friendly world is to call on the responsible government and non-government agents to prioritize menstrual hygiene, where a hospital is built or a clinic is built, instead of having free condoms, let them have free can pop in and take 1 or 2, and also free medical attention. While with cramps or any menstrual pain, can get medicine and go back to class without sleeping in hospital bed. Thank you so much. Free world for every woman.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Lethabo.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shamila. I am quite sorry that my camera is not working due to connectivity issues on my side. But all I want to say, thank you so much, guys, for taking all this initiative to actually helping our girls. We are making a big impact because of now our governments are not actually doing anything, especially around the world. So us being the first people to actually do something about it, and I believe there's some people all over the world that are doing the same. I say, Viva Menstrual Cup. Viva PrincessD, let's do an awesome work that we're supposed to do. It's our God-given mission, and there's a reason why God placed it in our hearts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lethabo. Is Marjanne still with us? Marjanne, are you here? I think we lost Marjanne. Thank you so much for that. I love those strong statements, which is pretty unforgettable, right? So I want to thank you. And I see, from what you've just said, there's a lot of bold calls to action. And it is, like we said, from the very beginning, we need implementation. And we can do that together. So it is within reach. We just have to go that extra mile and do what we can. It's been quite an inspiring and enlightening conversation. I want to thank all of you today for showing up, speaking out, and standing for dignity. I think that is most important. We want the dignity for our girls. And I want to say to our audience, thank you for tuning in and being part of this global effort. Together we can rise. Let us continue to have these conversations in homes, schools, workplaces, governments, wherever it is, in the bus, in the taxi, on the street, in the boardrooms. Let's do this, okay? Menstruation should never be a source of shame. It should never limit someone's potential and future. And like Lethabo said earlier on, it's our girls are the leaders of tomorrow, and that resonates with me because we want the female empowerment. We want to drive that agenda. Okay, we want more seats at the table. Together, we are building a world where periods are safe, spoken about, and supported for everyone. Okay, we talk about girls. We also talk about women. I mean, if you look at women in prisons, and we could go on and on talking about this and having this conversation. What are we doing for the girls and women? I'm Shamila Ramjawan, and this has been the Red Corner Show and the proud owner of the PrincessD Menstrual Cup. If you would like to get involved, please contact one of our brand ambassadors who are ever ready to chat to you and get together so we can work together and change the lives of women and girls globally. And if you would like to be on the Red Corner Show and share your story, we love hearing stories to a global audience. Contact us on email, redcornershow@gmail.com. Until next time, stay bold, stay kind, and help us build a period-friendly world. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Shamila. It was a blessing and an honor. And thank you for having us. And thank you for the work that you are doing out there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Shamila, and thank you, ambassadors. It was truly an honor to meet all of you, and I look forward to following up on some conversations.
Definitely.